breaking news here. Here at FXN Studios, we have just found out that Ronald Reagan beat Jimmy Carter in the election, 489 delegates to 49 delegates, winning the popular vote by 50.7% to 41%. People are crazy right now. You know what, Tom? I think we're just gonna have to take it down to you. We're just trying to capture everybody here on this exciting day in this election. Reagan has just won the presidency, and everybody is crazy right now. Let's try. Oh, how about you, sir? How do you feel about Reagan winning this election?
I'm so excited about Mr. Reagan winning this election. We need somebody with small government policies, not like Mr. Carter. I am so excited. I'm so happy that Mr. Reagan attacked that man on the debate stage. He exposed his small government, he exposed Mr. Carter's big government policies. And, he was just so relaxed on that stage. I can connect with that type of guy.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your opinion. All right, and, as you heard it from our opinionator over here, he is so glad, and especially with the tactics that Mr. Reagan used. All right, we're going to have to go back to you. Thank you, Tom. And, Tom, I really think it's interesting how you bring up debate tactics. Because, a lot of people talk about, he was such a good debater. And we actually have a debate expert here talking about this. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well, Mark. Thank you for having me on this show.
All right, Mr. Jonathan. And, from the perspective of a debate expert, tell me how you think Mr. Reagan's debate tactics affected the election. I think that, although Reagan did have some good policies like expanding our military budget, I think it was his debate tactics and communication skills that actually, won the election. One of his debate strategies was actually humor. And during one of those debates, Reagan noticed that Carter kept attacking him on opposing Medicare. And, rather than Reagan actually responding to this with his own policy, he said, "There you go again," which then led to an outpour of laughter by the crowd, and even Carter was laughing himself. And, this laughter, it does make him a more likable guy, right? But it also does something else. By having everybody laugh, he then catches their attention and catches their positive morale, and then he states something which then people think are true because, everybody's smiling. And, Mark, his policies are actually pretty crazy. He wanted to cut tax by 20% for everybody. That's more than we've ever seen before. Mr. Jonathan, I'll have to agree with you on that one. And let me ask you another question. How do you think Reagan's debate tactics actually, connected him with independents and some of the Democrats as well? And, the answer to that is because Mr. Reagan smiled a lot, he made funny jokes, and, he was so relaxed on that debate stage. You see, Mark, Mr. Carter looked very stressed, right? He was sweating, he had an angry face, and, having said that, it made Carter look just like another politician in Washington who's gonna scam you from your beliefs, from your hopes. But, Reagan was smiling, he was so relaxed on that stage, and when you look at a guy like that, he just looks so genuine, and, he looks like so much more relatable to you. And, that was the case for independents and also very many Democrats, right? His composure just made him look like a guy you'd want to go get a drink with. All right, Mr. Jonathan, that's very interesting, but I'm sorry, unfortunately, we're running out of time here. But, thank you so much for being on our show today.
Thank you so much for having me, Mark.
All right, yeah, no problem. Anytime with you, buddy. All right, next on FXN News, we're going to have a live video Skype call with the editor and columnist at The Washington Report, and we're going to speak about more of Reagan's debate tactics and how this election played out after these ads.
I hope it will be recorded that I appeal to our best hopes, not our worst fears, to our confidence rather than our doubts, to the facts, not to fantasies. And these three, hope, confidence, and facts, are at the heart of my vision of peace. Strength, restraint, inspired leadership. The time is now. Reagan for president.
We're back with Rowdy from The Washington Report. How you doing, Rowdy?
I'm doing very fine, Mark. Thank you for having me here today.
All right, let's jump right into this. Rowdy, do you agree with Mr. Jonathan? Well, yes, I most certainly do agree with Mr. Jonathan, but I also like to add something more. In the ad you might have saw earlier, you might have noticed that Reagan didn't use any facts. He used no policies either. But what he did use is he used a happy setting, he used happy music, and he incorporated happy people surrounding him. And that just makes Ronald Reagan seem like a more of a likable guy. And the average emotional response to an advertisement like this is happy, right? Because everyone's smiling. And when you constantly receive this happy emotional response, you start to associate Ronald Reagan's ideas with positivity. And unlike this, Jimmy Carter, this may seem kind of weird to you, but his ads were too objective. There's too many facts in there. And, what kind of American is going to want to watch a 60-second video of just someone speaking facts to them? That seems kind of too boring to Americans. All right, and last question before we run out of time here. What do you think President Carter did that made him lose in these debates? Well, most importantly to Jimmy Carter's failure, it's because his strategy was to just insult Mr. Reagan on, he was an extremist, he was a racist, and, Americans were not buying things like this, right? I think Jimmy Carter, he should have spent his strategy on stating his policy and stating why he would be good. For example, he should have told Americans how he unified them in the Iran hostage crisis. He should have, pointed to his plan on the oil shortage. And, things like that would have got Americans' votes, not these insults towards Reagan. All right, thank you, Rowdy, for that great answer. And unfortunately, that is all we have for today. And as for FXN News, we are signing out.